Hello everybody and welcome to the Money Man. Now, I've got a banknote here that was one of the first commemorative banknotes that I actually collected, and it is still by far one of my favourite commemorative banknotes. I think it's a wonderful design. And I've made a video about it a long time ago, but something went wrong and the video disappeared and I never managed to upload it to YouTube. So I thought I'd go back and revisit it and do this video again because this banknote deserves a lot of appreciation and respect because it's just majestic in its design. So if you've probably read the title already, I'm talking about the HSBC 150 Hong Kong dollar commemorative banknote, which was issued in 2015. And here it is. And straight off the bat, I love the colour scheme of this banknote. I love the layout, I love the imagery. Everything about it appeals to me. It's absolutely wonderful. Now, there's a lot going on here. I'll try and unpack as much of it as I can. Now, you're probably wondering, why does it have the bizarre denominational value of 150? We don't actually have this as a circulating denomination here in Hong Kong. We have the $10 bill, the 20, the 50, the 100, the 500, and the 1000. There has never been a 150. So, what's going on? Well, this banknote was introduced to celebrate HSBC's 150th year of operation in Hong Kong. Now, when Hong Kong became a British colony after the First Opium War, the imperial powers, including Great Britain, were expanding extensively into Chinese territory in terms of trade and mercantilism, but they were also picking up small bits of land. The areas like Weihai Wei and Shanghai fell under British control. So, in order to administer the financial interests of these little colonial possessions, various imperial banks were created. They were either private enterprises or they were done under the supervision of the government. And in this case, HSBC was set up to help with the financial interests of Hong Kong and the Shanghai colony. So that's where it comes from. Now, obviously, Hong Kong was a British colony right up until 1997. So HSBC has stood the test of time and continues to be one of the three commercial banks issuing currency here in Hong Kong. But the name's kind of stuck because, it's kept many financial and commercial interests in Shanghai even now. And also, it's got a massive HQ in London in the UK. And, one of its major bases of operation is here in Hong Kong. So HSBC is still very relevant today, even though the empire that it once existed in is long gone. But it still has a lot of history and heritage. And, they produced this special commemorative banknote to celebrate the fact that the bank has been around for 150 years, which is a remarkable feat. If you look at the history of Hong Kong, there have been numerous commercial banks which have come and gone. Or they've been bought up, they've been amalgamated with other banks. The only other bank to really stand the test of time is the Standard Chartered Bank, which used to be Chartered Bank. So, yeah, it's quite an interesting one. So this is quite a momentous thing to celebrate. So that's why they introduced this special 150 Hong Kong dollar denomination to tie up with the 150th anniversary. Now, is this legal tender? Well, yes but no. You can't go into a shop and use this as legal tender. However, if you take this to the bank, to a HSBC bank, they will redeem its face value. However, you would be quite silly to do that because it's obviously worth more than its face value now, as only a certain number were issued. So, as you can see, many of these banknotes actually have an AA prefix or a Hong Kong HK prefix, which is really nice. And then there are some replacement banknotes as well. I do have a couple of replacements as well, which feature a different prefix. Now, the imagery in these notes is really interesting. As you can see, we've got the nice reflective quality here with the 150. And if you look carefully, it's a little bit hard to see, but if I tip it up to the light, the watermark is actually the iconic HSBC lion. And you can actually see 1865, and then we've got the HSBC logo, 2015. So you've got the dates that are basically memorialized in this banknote. And another fascinating thing is you've got these triangular sort of, well, it's kind of triangular here, but it's kind of like a diamond pattern running through. It's actually the HSBC logo, which I think is a really, really nice, it's kind of like overlaid over the top of the images of the banknote. It's really, really, really nice. Now, if we look here, you can see we've got some bank tellers from back in the day, probably from the 60s, I'd imagine, maybe a little bit earlier. And then we've got basically the banking quarter on Hong Kong Island. Now, this is Queen's Road in Central, and that's where all the main big central bank HQs are. And you can see we've got the older buildings, and then we've got the new HSBC headquarters, which is a phenomenal building. Definitely go check it out if you're ever in Hong Kong. And here we've basically got the iconic tram lines that run along Queen's Road in Central, that run in front of the bank. So really, really nice. Contrast of the old and the new, really expressing the heritage of Hong Kong's banking and financial centre. Now, if we spin it around and look at the back, again, this is absolutely wondrous. Now, on the back of this banknote, what it's doing is it's basically celebrating Hong Kong's past, but more with a look towards the future. Now, there's a little bit of politics involved in here. Like I've said in numerous videos on banknotes about Hong Kong, Hong Kong in 1997 ceased to be a crown colony of the United Kingdom, and administration passed to the People's Republic of China, and Hong Kong was set up as a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China. So what this banknote is doing is it's celebrating the past, but the imagery is basically looking towards the future. A future with united with China, which is obviously very, very important. However, it's not very, very explicit. It's still focusing on Hong Kong's heritage and all that kind of stuff. So what you can see here is basically a view from Victoria Peak, which is on Hong Kong Island, looking down onto the old financial centre. And you can see we've got, it's quite an old image because there are not that many tall buildings, but you can see the old bank building right there. Now, if you go up to Victoria Peak, the skyline doesn't look like this. It looks like this. So you can see that there's a contrast between the old and the new. You can see how Hong Kong has basically evolved over time. And, even if you go back to the 1960s, it didn't look like the mega metropolis it does now. So there's been a heck of a lot of development over the last 30, 35 years, and Hong Kong has really exploded in terms of the number of tall, skyscraper buildings it's got. It really is something to see. If you fly into Hong Kong, try to get a window seat. And if you're flying in when there's no cloud cover, you will be awestruck by the number of tall buildings that are, clustered together around Hong Kong. It's a really, really phenomenal place. Now, so like I said, you've got these beautiful sea coastal images here of Hong Kong Island and Kowloon Peninsula. You've got the HSBC line, and we've got two children, which are basically representing the future. They're looking towards the future and sort of gazing in the same direction as the lion. So basically, it's sort of like a quiet way of saying, we're looking out for your interests. Okay, you might be cynical and might not believe that, but hey, it's, that's what the bank is trying to do. So there's a little bit of PR thrown in here as well. However, let's not be too cynical. Let's just focus on the beauty of this banknote. You can see it's got the 150th anniversary, and again, it's represented in traditional Chinese. You can see the numbers just right there. So really, really nice banknote. HSBC represented in English and traditional Chinese as well. So I really love this banknote. Not only was it released in the first couple of years that I started living in Hong Kong, it's a banknote that's very, very close to my heart because, I've lived in Hong Kong for 7 years now. I love this place. I care deeply about Hong Kong. And, there's a mixture with my own English history and Hong Kong history coming together in this banknote. So for me, it's a very, very special one. I love the colour scheme. I love the imagery. It's just one of a kind for me. So I've got quite a lot of them, and I do sell them from time to time because they're quite popular with foreign collectors. So yeah. Now, it didn't just come like that in a plastic sleeve. It comes in this whopping great big folder, which is pretty robust. And I have to say, for the price that it was issued at, it's a very, very fair price. Between 200 and 300 Hong Kong dollars, I think it was. Can't remember off the top of my head. You can see the note is sat right in the middle here, and if we open it up, It's quite a sturdy thing. You can see it sits in this nice little window here, and then if you open it up again, you can see the reverse of the banknote. And then here, you can pause it if you wish and just have a quick read, but this is basically what's inside, very similar to what I explained in the video. And then if we look on the next part of it, you can see, again, we've just got a few more notes about the images that are represented in the banknote. So yeah, it's pretty cool, very robust, and although it increases transportation costs when you send these to people, it does ensure that the banknote is going to arrive safely. So I do appreciate HSBC for producing such a fantastic, robust folder. Very nice. And if you're going to pick up one of these notes, I highly recommend that you get it with the folder. It's pretty easy to get hold of. So yeah, that's what I have for you today. Let me know what you think about this. I did another video a while back on the standard chartered 150 Hong Kong dollar commemorative banknote, which is also a very nice banknote and quite expensive now. This one is much cheaper, and in my opinion the design is much finer. I enjoy this one much more. So if you're going to choose one or the other, I would highly recommend getting hold of this banknote. It's way better in every single way, price wise, design wise, whatever. So yeah, let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe, and look out for more content that's coming soon. You can find a link to my Facebook page in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so close to 500 subs, and wow, I'm excited about this. So let's make that final push for 500, and we'll see where we go from there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. It's the Money Man signing out for now. Bye bye.